Southern Maryland tries to move one step closer to the playoffs tonight. Meanwhile, the visiting Giants look to continue their dominance over the Cal Ripken League. So glad you can join us for this ever-important ball game for your Senators. Cody Wagner alongside Zach Kimmel up in the booth. This is a big one tonight, Zach, and what are your keys to the game for Southern Maryland?
Well, my keys to the game for Southern Maryland are throwing strikes, limiting the walks as well. And for the Gatinsburg Giants, their keys to the game are strikes, good defense, and they like to get out early. I was talking to Luke Piera before the game, and he mentioned on trying to get 3 or 4 runs early, trying to start early.
Jacob Seek, your man on the hill tonight for Southern Maryland, has pitched in 6 games, 5 starts to that note. Last pitched on July 7th, just over a week ago against the T-Bolts. In that ball game, he threw 3 innings out of the bullpen. The win went to his record as well, 2-1 on the year, a 4.42 ERA, and man, has he been good, Zach.
He has been really good, and in that T-Bolts game on July 7th, he only 1 hit allowed, and he pitched only 3 innings though, but he had 2 strikeouts, and he had only 2 batters on base, so a pretty good job for the young man.
Well, in to lead off the game is A.J. Martin. Martin wears number 7, the only Maryland native, makes the trip 15 minutes down the road to play for this Gaithersburg squad.
A.J. Martin in his previous game, he had 2 hits, and he had a double in his previous game. Definitely a dangerous hitter, and one you're going to want to try and get a ground out against.
First pitch of the ball game misses inside, and we are officially underway from Southern Maryland. Clobbered into left center field. Back is Boris, and that'll drop over his glove and down in front of Brewer for a leadoff base knock.
It just looked like there was confusion in the outfield. No one knew who was going to try and catch it. That's resulted in an error right there. That is not a good start for the Senators.
Confusion, that a perfect note to talk about last night. 14-1 loss at the hands of the Alexandria Aces, and Southern Maryland just did not look good, to say the least, Zach.
No, it was a really disappointing night for the Southern Maryland Senators, losing 14-1 against the Aces.
Snap check on the runner at first, called strike. Martin back safely. Aiden Robbins in the 2-hole tonight.
Speaking of the Aces, they will play the Braves, and the Aces are a 23-10 record and have already clinched the playoffs and won the division, while the Giants have also clinched their division and made playoffs. Only 3 teams so far have made playoffs, and also the Big Train have made playoffs as well.
And in the South Division, Zach, things are just kind of jumbled together at the moment, right? 14-18, 14-19, and 13-20. Senators sit at the top of those records. High fly ball to right field. Putts with time. Hauls it in for out number 1.
Just a battle for second place to get into these playoffs.
Now batting, number 19, Brady Powell.
Yeah, it's a super interesting story in the South especially, right, Zach? I mean, that all of these teams are within a game and a half of each other, and 3 games out, we still have no clue who's going to make the playoffs. 4 for the Senators, 3 for most of these teams.
Yeah, I feel like the Braves are going to be watching closely tonight for this game.
Brady Powell in the 3 spot for Gaithersburg, a 290 batter out of George Mason University. Has a 281 on base percentage over his first 2 seasons there. He doesn't often struggle with base runners on.
Actually, going back to who I spoke to before the game, Luke Pierre, he's a pitcher for the Giants. I talked to him what he was working on, and he said he's working on his mechanics and as well as hiding his pitches and also trusting in his fastballs is what he said. different mechanics as he recently just graduated and is trying to adjust to the college level.
Well, Zach, let's talk a little bit about the guy on the hill tonight for the Senators and Jacob Seek. One of the problems that he's run into at times is the walks, filling up the zone well early in this one, but 25 bases on balls he surrendered in 20 and a third innings.
Yeah, in this current situation, you're going to want to try and pitch low to the zone. You want to try and encourage a double play here, and it looks like it was a pop-out fly.
And running on the pitch was Martin, and so they easily double him off. Just 3 batters faced, and Seek able to get out of things. Senators bats due up for the first time tonight. Welcome back to Regency Furniture. So glad you can join us on what is an absolutely beautiful Monday night in Waldorf. On the hill tonight for Gaithersburg is Nicholas Carls, 1-0 record, 4.37 ERA. And his best start by far was the most recent one he made on July 8th last Monday against the Bethesda Big Train, where he was unbelievable. 6 innings of 1-run ball. A guy that's going to pitch to contact, 10 strikeouts in 12 and a third innings. Just 4 walks. So we'll likely be going after these Southern Maryland batters early, Zach.
Yes, indeed, but he's not afraid of contact. In the game against Bethesda Big Train on July 8th, he had 6 hits allowed, so he's going to try and throw some balls your way. And one of the reasons why pitchers will do that is to try and get ground outs and even pop flies. So some pitchers are not afraid of a batter hitting contact, but it's where they want to hit it.
Rowan Putz to lead things off for your Senators. He's the 5'9" freshman out of Kansas State. Hit on the ground, slow roller to Powell. Lobs to first base. 1 gone.
Now batting left fielder, number 7, Nathan Brewer.
Perhaps the most consistent batter in the Scott Middleton order steps to the plate, Nathan Brewer. Let's give you the lineup for your Senators tonight. It goes Putz, Brewer, Groen, DeShazo, the catcher McHugh, followed by C.J. Willis, who's playing first base. Mike Sweeney out of Hofstra playing third this evening. Silas Boris, and rounding it out is the man who just finished up his time in high school in the spring in Ty Smolinski.
Speaking of hitting, I spoke to PJ Hughes before the game, and one of the things I asked him what he was working on is he wants to work on hitting as well as working on counts. When you hit and when you work on counts, you want to adapt to the certain count. For example, if you have a 1-2 count, you want to expand the strike zone slightly and focus on contact.
Hughes not in the lineup this evening. Struggled last night, 0 for 2 against the Aces.
Most of the team struggled, including Nate Brewer. He didn't have a hit, and he had 1 strikeout. Not a good night for him, so hopefully he rebounds tonight.
Liner deep to left field. At the track is Sanderoff, and that'll get off the wall. Brewer hustling around second. He's going to try for 3. Throw there is in time. Then they're able to tag him out. Brewer trying to stretch a double into a triple. He's nabbed at third base.
I don't think that was a smart decision by Nathan Brewer there. I feel like he should have just played it safe. He was overly aggressive there instead of wanting to risk it and try and get the triple. He should have backed up and maybe gotten the double instead.
But boy, did he really get into that one. A huge sign for his confidence.
A great hit, too, by him.
Carter Groen extended his hold on being the league leader in home runs last night, where he launched one over the fence. That was the only run in the game for Southern Maryland.
He was hitter of the week a few weeks ago, and I won't be surprised if he gets a few hits and maybe even a few runs in this game.
A 1-2 offering. Lifted to shallow left center. And in is Robbins. Catch made. That'll bring an end to the inning. 0-0 from Waldorf. Back on the other side. 4-5-6 due up for Gaithersburg. Welcome back to Southern Maryland. So glad you can join us. Cody Wagner, Zach Kimmel from Regency Furniture. And boy, is it a hot one this evening. Temperature sitting right in the mid-90s.
Yeah, when I was on my way to the stadium, it hit 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And we've had some hot games this year, and thankfully it should cool off later tonight.
Weather will continue to cool down as the sun lowers in the sky. Jacob Bunch to lead off the inning, hitting .265 on the campaign for Gaithersburg. Last played on Thursday against the Crop Dusters, a 2-for-4 ball game. Struck out once.
He might have struck out once, but he had 2 hits in that game. Had an on-base percentage of .316. So he's pretty consistent in that game, in my opinion.
Doesn't walk a whole lot, just 3 to his name. Foul tipped. And they'll say McHugh made the grab behind the plate. 1 gone in the inning.
Now batting, the catcher, number 31, Barham White.
Always gets interesting behind the play. Whenever it gets tipped and the catcher catches it, it kind of makes you think it's like, that should have been a foul ball.
Barham White in the 5-hole for Gaithersburg. Has struck out 18 times, which is 2 more than the total games he's played.
Barham White had a pretty consistent game last time. He had a hit in the run in a win against Bethesda.
That was the win on Saturday against the Big Train. 12-5 final. Giants lost last night at the hands of the Crop Dusters. They have just 2 games remaining on the season. Senators will have a pair of games to make up the remainder of this week. Of course, tomorrow against the DC Grays, where they'll travel on the road, and then an adjusted doubleheader against the Crop Dusters coming up on Wednesday.
That is one you're not going to miss, folks, a doubleheader. Very excited for that.
Now batting, number 30,
Barham White works a 4-pitch walk, and up comes Tyler DiMartino. This is a guy that has been around the block, so to speak. Played for the Giants in both 2019 and 2021. Played a couple of games in the Cape Cod League 2 years ago. So a player that is really experienced and bringing that to the Giants once again this year.
And when you have veteran experience on a team, it definitely gives a little bit of a morale boost, as well as trying to teach some of these younger players. And some of these players are just straight out of high school and just trying to adapt to the college game.
Squares to bump, pulls it back, but in for a strike is the pitch from Seek. To begin the inning, Seek has struck out his first batter, then walked the first guy of the night.
One part of the pitching game that very few people sometimes talk about is the catcher signals, and especially the changeup signal, which is you have 3 fingers extended, and it's often with a closed fist or an open palm, so it could be signaling for a changeup.
The 2-2 offering. Lifted high into foul ground. Will is tracking it near the Gaithersburg dugout, and that'll be unplayable into the stands.
I mentioned before count strategies, and since it's a 2-2 count, what you're going to want to do here is you're going to be aggressive, but also prepared to protect the plate. So that's something that DiMartino is going to do here.
Liner over the jumping glove of Ty Smolinski. Rounding second and staying there is Barham White. A 1-out single for Tyler DiMartino.
now batting, number 34,
Sends a runner to scoring position for Masayuki Kawashima.
Kawashima, a dangerous player. Last time the Senators played at home against the Giants. Remember, he had that run in that 5th inning, I think.
No doubt Kawashima can be a dangerous bat at times. Been an encouraging sign tonight from Seek. Just the 1 walk. Otherwise, he's really been finding the zone effectively, Zach.
You're trying to lessen the walks and expand the strike zone.
Kawashima plays for Sierra College, batting .281 on the year for the Wolverines. Hitting nearly .300 for the Giants.
Kawashima had also a hit last game with 2 at-bats. And I feel like Kawashima, he's the type of player that he doesn't start out good, but his finish is just really strong, in my opinion.
A ball and 2 strikes. 2 guys on. The pitch. Called strike 3 on the outer edge. Seek sets him down looking.
Now back
2 away in the inning.
Casey Gibbs.
Casey Gibbs to bat.
Another guy that played in that ball game last time the Giants visited Waldorf.
As the Senators led that 3-0, and then the Giants, they came back and won that game.
That's been one of the struggles throughout the season, right, Zach, has been holding on to leads. They seem to have done a better job of that late in the season, but certainly that is what led to early season struggles in Southern Maryland.
There have been some games where they've led, especially I think back to that Braves game that ended in controversy in the beginning of the season. They sort of led that game and they let it slip away.
Back on July 2nd against the Senators, Gibbs worked 3 walks. On the ground of first,
Oh.
and an errant throw from C.J. Willis will bounce off the stairs near the dugout, and a run will come home to score in the form of Barham White.
Oh, costly mistakes for the Senators. Just some bad communication
Tanner Center.
on certain parts. Who's getting first and who's getting the ball. Just costly mistakes as the Giants take the lead.
It was actually a well-executed play by Jacob Seek, who quickly made his way off the mound to first. Same by C.J. Willis, who fielded the ground ball well, but just knew that the runner was hustling down the line. And so had to make a quick play, and to the Senators' detriment.
But now you have a dangerous situation right now. If this guy gets a single, those other 2 on first and third, they don't have to run. They could just sit back and wait for the bases to be loaded.
Cut and a miss at strike 1. Tanner Sanderoff stands 6 foot 165. Another guy that is out of a hometown of another team in the league, Silver Spring, Maryland, is where Sanderoff hails from. Of course, the home of the Silver Spring Tacoma Thunderbolts.
Sanderoff also is a pitcher, by the way. Oh,
Pitch will get past McHugh, and coming home to score is DiMartino. 2-0, Gaithersburg.
DiMartino hitting the gritty already.
And this is a Giants team that has no problem scoring. And a couple of miscues from the Senators has certainly not helped things for Southern Maryland.
Senators have to try and pick this up. They're currently, as coaches would say, beating themselves right now.
Sanderoff fights it off.
Before that run, I was going to talk about Sanderoff. He's also a really good pitcher. He's 12-5, and the last time he pitched was on July 13th against Bethesda, and he allowed 2 runs and he also had an earned run in that game as well.
Tried to hold up his swing. They'll say he did so in time.
And we'll call that one a questionable call. Does the Senators disagree with that?
Sanderoff also had the opportunity to pitch in the All-Star game. Very talented arm. Ropes one into right field, through the hole. 3-0 for the Giants. A big second inning.
That's one of their keys to the game, trying to go up early, 3 to 4 runs. They are successfully filling that.
Lineup card flips over for the manager, TJ Brockway, and up comes AJ Martin. Singled to lead things off in the first. Lifted high and far out to left center. That'll get down in the gap. One run is going to score, as pulling into second is A.J. Martin with an RBI two-bagger.
I feel like if there's a team that can give the Aces a run for their money, it's the Giants.
Things starting to go from bad to worse for the Senators, and out comes Scott Middleton to have a chat with the young left-hander. With that, we'll be back in a moment from Waldorf, Maryland. 4-0 your score in favor of the visiting team. Aiden Robbins in with a chance to continue this rally for the Giants, who lead it 4-0 in the top of two.
Martin looking to extend the Giants' lead here. And a great start for the Giants as well.
Robbins flew out to right his first time up. Comes up with a man in scoring position.
Robbins definitely a power hitter on this team, so we better watch out for him.
Leads the squad in RBIs with 25. Liner to third base, snagged by Mike Sweeney to end the inning.
It stops the bleeding there.
Giants go on top 4-0. Back in a moment from Regency Furniture. Owen DeShazo will get his first try at things from the plate. The 286 batter was an impressive 2 of 3 with an RBI in the loss on Thursday against Alexandria. That was a much closer one, Zach. 3-2 the final, where the Aces walked it off.
That was a good one, and he was trying to bounce back on July 13th against the Braves. So they won that game. He had a disappointing game. He was 4 at-bats and had 3 strikeouts.
And if you were to note one weak part of DeShazo's game, it may be the strikeouts. 37 to this point in the year. But boy, does he make contact often. Rather, does he record a hit often if he makes contact. As he goes down swinging, a foul tip, strike number 3.
Now batting the catcher, number 15, Nate McHugh.
To the 5 spot we go in Nate McHugh. In last night's loss, he doubled and walked.
Had a hit in that game, and that hit was a double. Was at least able to contribute some hits to the game, but it wasn't enough to get the Senators a win.
Carl's ever efficient early in the ball game. Gave up the 1 hit last inning to Nathan Brewer.
It was like that ball, it almost hit McHugh, but it tipped off his bat.
We'll keep the count right where it is.
A 1-2 count.
The pitch. This is just outside. Count even to the catcher, McHugh.
Usually sometimes when a batter doesn't swing, they're trying to expect a certain pitch. Like he wants the pitcher, McHugh wants the pitcher to throw a certain pitch he likes.
Carl's longest start on the campaign was a 6-inning effort against the Big Train. Lifted high to shallow right. Coming in his bunch. Catch made. 2 gone.
Now batting the first baseman, number 13, C.J. Willis.
C.J. Willis making the start at first base for your Senators. Switches day on, day off with Ian Kennedy.
And C.J. Willis, in the previous game against the Aces, he had just 1 hit, 1 at bat.
Came into that game for Ian Kennedy as a defensive replacement in the 4th. Had just 1 trip to the plate in the 6th inning. Carl's gets an exchange of the balls, and we're ready to go once again. The 0-2.
Catcher looks to be signaling for a cutter. And it's the glove positioning on a catcher. And whenever a catcher, he switches his glove positioning, it depends on what kind of pitch you're going to throw and where you actually throw the ball as a pitcher.
High chopper to first. DiMartino plays it, covering his Carl's. And the throw in time to retire the side. 4-0 remains your score as they go 1-2-3 in the bottom of 2. Giants bats due up on the other side. Hello and welcome back to Regency Furniture. Cody Wagner, Zach Kimmel from Waldorf, Maryland. 4-0 your score in favor of the Giants. And Zach, this one starting to feel a little bit like last night. Hopefully it doesn't go as south as it did a day ago. A 14-1 victory for Alexandria yesterday.
We're still kind of early in the game here, Cody, and it's only top of the third, and you get 3 outs right here, and you get back up, and maybe get 2 or some runs in. You could definitely still be in this game.
No doubt about it. Still a lot of time to recover for Southern Maryland. Don't have to push the panic button quite yet. Good news for Seek, has only walked 1 batter, which has been his Achilles heel at times throughout the season.
One thing I like about this Senator team is each teammate tries to pick each other up. And what Seek is doing here is he's doing his best to try and keep batters off of first base and all the other bases.
If you'll remember last inning, it was a C.J. Willis error with 2 outs that ended up proving costly.
That was a really costly mistake, and hopefully they'll adjust to the hitting of certain batters.
A 4-pitch walk to begin the inning, and Brady Powell turns it over to Jacob Bunch. Getting the start in right field tonight. Struck out in the 2nd inning.
Remember, these Giants hitters, most of them, they start off a little slow because they adapt to the pitch. But when they start out slow, they recognize the pitch and are able to make adjustments later in the game.
Bunch, the .265 batter, has played in 10 games for the Giants. So not an everyday guy, but he's played often enough.
Still a pretty good hitter in my opinion.
And Zach, this is one of the interesting things about this Giants team, right? They play a lot of different guys day in and day out. They have a whole slew of very good players on that bench that they don't really need to worry about depth. It's not really an issue for them. Sky deep to right field, putts back just in front of the warning track. He hauls it in, 1 away.
Now batting, number 31, Barham White.
And that's exactly one of the reasons they've been able to be successful, Zach, is that they don't really have a weak configuration of this lineup. Each guy, day in and day out, is able to be productive.
It's very similar to how the Aces play, and I'll say this. I feel like the Giants, they're my favorite to win the championship. They're my favorite to win the playoffs.
No doubt. They've been wonderful this season, which is especially shocking after they had the worst record in the entire league a year ago. 22-12 so far in the campaign with just 2 games remaining on the docket.
We can say last year they were like the Oakland A's, and now this year they're kind of like the Dodgers, you can say.
Pitch misses away, runner goes. A wayward throw forces Smolinski off of the bag. And in easily is Brady Powell. Seek trying to record his 3rd punch out of the evening. A 1-2 pitch.
Swung there a little bit too early by Bunch.
Senators immersed in this battle in the South. They'll get one more opportunity to play the DC Grays that game tomorrow, and then after that the doubleheader versus the Crop Dusters on Wednesday.
Grays are currently 13-20 And if they want to punch their ticket into the postseason, the Senators and Braves would have to lose.
Yeah, they really have to do a lot at this point, right, Zach?
A lot of homework.
Senators in a super good spot to make the playoffs.
They're definitely 14 and 18, while the Braves are 14 and 19. And tomorrow, I'll be sure to keep an eye on the Braves game.
If they can win just 2 of their next 4, the Senators are pretty much guaranteed a spot.
But the Senators, they tend to struggle this season. They win 1 game, but then lose the next 2 or 3. And just only recently, they had just gotten a 2-win streak. So, as Middleton would say, going on a run, the Senators need to do.
3 of their next 4 would for sure clinch it, but likely if they can just win half of their upcoming games, it'll be enough. Thunderbolts in the North kind of out of the conversation to make the playoffs at this point. Have played 34 games. Runner goes, pitch misses low. No throw down to third. Runners at the corners.
A huge offensive advantage here for the Gaithersburg Giants. My favorite, a guy on first and a guy on third. You have a huge advantage. You can have one guy go off and run to second, and the other guy can come and run home to home.
Tyler DiMartino singled last inning. Comes up in a big spot in the third. Powell stands just 90 feet away.
Both runners looking to get ahead early off a hit-and-run opportunity.
Seek all of a sudden struggling to find the zone. Has
That was-
walked 2 batters in the inning.
It was a fastball on that previous pitch.
Action out in the Senators bullpen. Can't quite tell who it is, shielded by the left field wall. Have a feeling that we may know soon enough with a potential pitching change coming. The 3-0 cracked out to deep left field. Brewer back, and that's going to bang off the wall. Scoring from third is Powell. Rounding and scoring is White. And sliding in feet first is DiMartino with a 1-out double to extend the lead to 6.
It's another wound in the Senators. And we'll take time out here.
New pitcher coming into the ball game for Southern Maryland. 6-0, the score for the Giants. That'll be all for Jacob Seek tonight. Back in a moment from Waldorf. Avery Thielman, the new man on the hill for Scott Middleton, after Jacob Seek threw just 2 1/3, surrendering the 6 runs. Just 4 of those being earned. That error from C.J. Willis extended the second inning, and it's been all Gaithersburg ever since, Zach.
Gaithersburg definitely playing. You mentioned before, keys to the game, getting out ahead early. 3 to 4 runs to start. They have delivered on that key.
Into the ball game, as I mentioned a moment ago, Avery Thielman, the sophomore out of Western Michigan, threw just 2 2/3 for them this year.
He played in the Western Canadian Baseball League in the summer of 2023 for the Michigan Monarchs.
Most recent appearance was a week ago against the Metro South County Braves. That a game that the Senators walked off of a Nathan Brewer double. Kawashima bunts one foul. Masayuki Kawashima went down looking last inning.
And Kawashima, one of those hitters that he gets better as the game goes on. Those are the most dangerous hitters. You could start off by having consistent hits, but if you get tired way too quickly, you don't have the energy to continue those hits in the game. So by preserving it, you later save those hits for the big moments.
Gaithersburg looking good early in this one. High chopper to Smolinski at second. Lobs to first. 2 gone in the inning.
Now batting, number 18, Casey Gibbs.
Well, advancing 90 feet is Tyler DiMartino, who stands aboard third for Casey Gibbs, the designated hitter. He was the man that reached on that C.J. Willis errant throw. Thielman with that 3/4 slot.
One thing when a new pitcher comes in is he has to adapt to also the catcher's signals that he's going to call, because each catcher has different signals they like, different pitches they like. So by adapting to that, he's going to probably lessen the blow that the Senators have gotten from the Giants.
Gibbs stays alive. Gibbs trying to extend the inning in a big way and drive home Tyler DiMartino.
Ooh.
Cut on a miss. He struck him out.
The Senators needed that one.
That'll retire the side. Avery Thielman comes into the ball game and sets down the first 2 guys he faces. Back in a moment for the bottom of 3. A big welcome back from Regency Furniture, Cody Wagner, Zach Kimmel on site.
Not to start the Senators one, but hopefully in the bottom of the third here, they're able to get some runs onto the board.
Sweeney in the 7th spot this evening. Flares one to second base. Off the one hop, Powell takes it. Throw to first. In time, one gone.
Now batting the shortstop, number 8, Silas Flores.
An efficient start to the inning for Carls, who has allowed just the one hit off of Nathan Brewer, who was ultimately thrown out at third trying to stretch a double into a triple. So has not allowed a base runner to this point.
Having a dominant game so far. Reminds me a little bit of the Paul Skeens, who recently just got into the All-Star game. And looking forward to that All-Star game tomorrow night.
Silas Boris, the new man to the plate for your Senators, batting 187 on the year. Out of Georgia Southern, where he played in just 3 games. Batted .333. Against Alexandria last night, he finished 1 for 3 in that abridged game.
He only had 1 hit in that game, so 1 for 3. And on-base percentage of .333. What Boris is going to try and do here, he's going to be selective. He's looking for that specific pitch because it's a 3-2 count here.
Slap the opposite way and just foul. We'll do it again at 3-2. Zach, what do the Senators need to do to try to get back in this ballgame?
What I think the Senators need to do is, well, mentioned going back to the P.J. Hughes interview, working on hitting. Just working on hitting. And one thing, this is the Senators, they've struggled all season with this, is leaving runners on base. They're able to get hits in the game, but they can't bring them home.
Swings through strike number 3, 2 away. To the 9th spot we go in the form of Ty Smolinski.
Now batting the second baseman, number 34, Ty Smolinski.
He's set to attend Kansas State in the fall. One of the few players on this Senators squad who is still yet to play in a college-level game. Amongst those was the starter tonight, Jacob Seek, along with catcher Braden Purser-Eber, who is on the bench this evening. Likely will make the start tomorrow. Switches day on, day off with Nate McHugh. Cutting a miss. Strike 3. And how about that from Nicholas Carls? 9 up, 9 down to begin the ball game for Southern Maryland.
It's not a
Still
good start.
scoreless. Head into the 4th inning. 6-0 from Waldorf is your score. Tanner Sanderoff in to lead off the inning. First time he was up singled in the second and drove home a run.
And Sanderoff, a guy not really known for his hitting. I'd say he's known for his pitching.
Boy, was he a big part of that second inning, though, Zach. Kept the rally going, and he was ultimately drove home off of a A.J. Martin double.
It's really dangerous when you have a pitcher. It's really dangerous when you have a pitcher that can also hit. Very rare to see those, and we've only seen that a few times. And more recently, we've seen Shohei Ohtani do that sort of stuff.
You know, it's a real luxury for teams in this league to have guys that can both hit and pitch, because you just take up one roster spot with a guy that can do it on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and it also saves you time from trying to find hitters as well, trying to find other batters. And the pitchers gets extra playing time as well.
The 2-2 pitch. Hit hard to right field, coming on his putts. That'll drop in front of him for a leadoff base knock. To the top of the order we go for Gaithersburg in the form of A.J. Martin. Coming in 2 for 2, trying to stay hot at the plate. And Senators just have seemed not to have an answer early in this ballgame.
Yeah, it's starting to give flashbacks to yesterday's game versus the Aces, and we've seen the Senators. This is not the Senators we appreciate. Oh.
First pitch will run in and hit Martin on the back. First and second for Gaithersburg.
Despite the Senators down 6-0, you can still see the dugout cheering on the teammates, just trying to keep them in this game.
And it's especially tough to recover after last night, right, Zach? I mean, they just played such a rough game last night, and even before that was a good win over the Braves. And it's just so hard to look at the silver lining and think, hey, we played well the night before. Let's just forget about that one last night, because it is such a looming ball game. Hard on the ground, back up the middle, gets through.
Another run for the Giants. Oh, my goodness.
Smolinski dives after it to no avail. Scoring from second is Tanner Sanderoff.
Oh, dear.
Make it 7-0 for the Giants.
My goodness.
Brady Powell in the 3-hole. Led off last inning with a walk.
I feel like what you could do now as a catcher and a pitcher is try and figure out what's the batter's strengths and weaknesses. Where's his hot spots? Where's his cold spots?
A tough one tonight thus far for the Senators. Slow bouncer down the third base line, just left of the bag. No balls, 2 strikes.
To add insult to injury right now, you have 0 outs so far in this inning, and you gotta get an out here, like a pop fly, a ground out. You have to do something to try and swing this back in your favor.
Thielman trying to get right back on track. The 0-2. And this has got to be a positive sign for the Giants, right? Headed into the playoffs in just a few days. they'll get the first round bye, and they've just looked so good tonight and really throughout the season.
It is, and I feel like for the next game up for the Giants, these next couple games, I feel like you should try and maybe rest your starters, kind of save the good guys for the playoffs, and maybe give some guys who haven't played a lot this season to give them a chance, show them what each player's got.
You do have to keep in mind, Zach, they will have a 3-day break, considering the fact that they won't play the 18th and 19th, and they'll have the day off on Saturday because they get the bye. So they will have a lot of days to rest their guys, which is super convenient for them.
Very important for rest days. I remember when I played in high school, rest days were drink water, apply ice, and stretch. Those 3 things are crucial.
And what was at one point an 0-2 count, Powell able to work a walk.
He's got to talk to him.
McHugh will have a chat with Thielman on the hill. Bases loaded in the 4th.
Maybe discussing certain batters' weaknesses. We're trying to calm them down still. Because despite it being a huge lead right now, you can still have an opportunity to get some runs in the bottom of the 4th if you make it to the bottom of the 4th.
Last night it was 3 runs in the 1st, 5 in both the 4th and 5th for Alexandria. Tonight they pushed across 4 back in the 2nd inning, 2 an inning ago, and already 1 is scored. Bases loaded for the Giants with no outs.
It is going to be interesting. The playoffs are definitely going to be interesting. And again, my team to win, the Giants. That's my team to win the Cal Ripken League this playoffs.
Will be interesting to see how things play out. Giants has been completely out of the ordinary to see them playing as well as they have. High bouncer to the pitcher, Thielman. He goes home with it, where they get 1 out, and that'll be it. But a big moment to cut down the runner at home. And so score stays right where it is.
I mean, we have been talking about playoffs. We're talking about playoffs. I just hope the Senators can score a run here.
Barham White has reached on balls both times he's been up. Away half of 4. Jacked deep to left field. Back is Brewer. That'll hit off the wall and get past the glove of Brewer. 2 runs come home to score, and Barham White pulls into second with a double.
Cody, I thought that hit was a home run there, and just bangs off the wall. And again, just adding insult to injury. 9-0, the Giants lead.
And a man who had 2 RBIs last time he came up, a double from DiMartino in the 3rd, played at a pair. With a chance to do so again. And it's just disappointing to see this in back-to-back nights, right, Zach?
It really is, and it's frustrating as a fan of the team. You know, especially your team gets blown out back-to-back. Just hard to watch, and makes you want to flip the channel or throw the TV out of a fit of rage.
Hope you keep it here with us. Game will continue on from Waldorf. 9-0, the Giants. If they get above a 10-run lead and it stays that way through 7, we will have the mercy rule kick in, similar to last night. The 2-0. Got on a miss.
I feel like for this situation, for catcher signal, you're going to want to try and do a curveball here. Try and get 2 fingers down and extend them. But it's not going well. Having poor communication. So now you're ahead in the count. Now the batter here, he's gonna look for a specific pitch he wants. Oh, you get the guy on second and third home.
Roller left side, takes a bad bounce on the edge of the grass. Boris able to field it, throw across the diamond in time, 2 away in the inning. But scoring is another run in the form of Brady Powell.
Sacrifice run right there on that play. And you get an out, but 10-0. Oh my goodness.
3rd run knocked in on the day off the bat of Tyler DiMartino. In steps the left-handed hitting Masayuki Kawashima.
A dangerous hitter right here. Gets progressively, I keep mentioning this, progressively gets better in this game. He's also got some wheels too.
A big hack and misses strike 2.
Let's see if Thielman can get Kawashima out here. The Senators really need to get at least a few runs on the board, try and cut down this lead.
The pitch. $10-0. Your score from Regency Furniture. It's been all Grays early in this ballgame.
Two count. Kawashima preparing to protect the plate for the 2-2.
And boy, this has got to be super good for the mentality of TJ Brockway, who has got to be pleased with his team and how they've performed tonight.
I remember when I spoke to the batting coach for the Giants, really focused on hitting, and look at where the Giants are now. Consistent hitting and consistent getting runs on the board.
Certainly an encouraging performance from this squad tonight. The payoff pitch. Lifted the opposite way. Boris back to shallow left. Hauls it in to bring it into the inning. But not before the Giants put another 4 on the board. 10-0 your score from Waldorf. Senators trying to put something up in the scoring column on the other side. Well, how about Nicholas Carls tonight? Has seen 9 batters and set them down in order. Rowan Putz with another chance at the plate. Grounded out to Powell at second to lead off the ball game.
Yeah, Paul Skeens, I'm sorry. Nicholas Carl's having a great game here for the Giants.
Lifted high in the air towards the first base dugout of the Grays and out of play. Home half of 4. It's been all Gaithersburg so far.
I think my strategy for this inning is try and chip away at that lead. Well, maybe you get 2 or 3 runs in this inning, but you definitely want to try and get 10. And
a shot deep to center field. Back is Robbins just in front of the track. He makes the grab. 1 gone.
Now batting the left fielder, number 7, Nathan Brewer.
Senators have made some pretty solid contact off of Carls to this point, but it's just happened to be right at guys.
it has been. It depends on the aiming on where you want to hit it.
Nathan Brewer doubled but was ultimately thrown out, trying to stretch a double into a triple back in the first inning.
I wonder if Carl's on that previous pitch saw an invisible pigeon.
Little Randy Johnson callback.
It looks like a ball went out into the field.
Once again, ready to get underway. Nathan Brewer hitting .324 on the year coming into tonight.
2-0 count. Might try and get ahead in the count. And Brewer wanting a Pacific pitch.
Lifted the opposite way. On the track is Sanderoff, and that'll get down off the wall. Brewer pulls into second with a stand-up double.
Looks like we saw a coach yelling, "Do not do what you did last time."
Brewer, a guy with speed, and really does trust it. Maybe to his detriment at times, as was evident earlier in the game. But in steps Carter Groen, trying to get the Senators their first run of the ball game. Hit his 9th homer of the season last night.
Groen definitely a consistent hitter on the team. Bright spot here, and we definitely are going to need a guy like him to try at least not prevent a mercy rule.
If the Giants lead by 10-7, that'll be the game. Hit hard to the opposite side. Will get through the hole. Bunch corrals it and throws to the cutoff man, DiMartino. Runners at the corners for the Senators.
Advantage for the Senators. Definitely needs this here in this game.
A nice base knock from Carter Groen. Brings to the plate Owen DeShazo. Plays college ball for Boston College. Liner back up the middle, through for a hit. Scoring is Nathan Brewer, first and second for your Senators, and all of a sudden, they've got something going in Waldorf.
We have a run. We have a run. The game is not over, and we will not get mercy ruled.
Nate McHugh, and with 2 ducks on the pond. Bottom of 4 at Regency Furniture.
We get a little small hope in here for the Senators. with that run scored. And it looks like the Giants dugout is active, and I can't tell who is pitching right now.
A man getting warm out in that bullpen down the right field line. Hot shot left side will get through the hole. They're sending Groen home. He'll decide against it.
Smart play by Carter Groen, not wanting to make a costly mistake.
Bases loaded for Scott Middleton and his guys. Coming up, C.J. Willis. But first, a visit to the mound for manager T.J. Brockway.
I think things are starting to shift here.
Senators feeling good at the moment. Still 10-1 in favor of the Giants, but they played their first run in the home half of 4. Back in a moment from Waldorf. Willis up in a big spot. We'll try to keep the rally going with 1 out in the 4th.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Still a long ways to go, no doubt about it, but the first step in the right direction.
There's still a chance here is what we're trying to say, yes.
Hit high to shallow left center field. Making the grab is Robbins. Groen was tagging from third, decides against it, and scurries back to the bag.
Just a great rally there by the Giants, able to easily cover home and prevent Groen from getting to home.
Heck of a throw from Robbins out in center. Forced Groen to stay right where he is. Trying to leave the bases loaded is Nicholas Carls.
Now you gotta try at least get a base hit here. You can't get a pop out because you have 2 outs. There's no sacrifice fly right now, or try and swing for the fences. But I play it safe and get
10-1 Giants.
play it safe and try and get a base hit.
Two one. Hard on the ground. Powell fields it. Lobs to first. DiMartino makes the grab to retire the side. Senators able to plate 1 in the 4th.
We can see a shift here.
Back in a moment from Waldorf. The 8-hole hitter will lead off the inning, and Casey Gibbs reached on an error in the second. Went down swinging his last time up. New pitcher into the ballgame is Waylon Sebrin. A slow roller left side, and misplaying it as Silas Boris. It was going to need to be a perfect play from him. And he
Another
can't make the bare hand grab.
costly mistake here for the Senators. Just frustrating to see. Just beating themselves at the moment.
No doubt that that's a difficult play to make for Silas Boris, who has been a great fielder throughout the season. Tanner Sanderoff has singled in his 2 trips to the plate.
Also, Waylon Serbian on the mound now. He plays at Memphis.
Sebrin's first appearance with the Senators was on July 7th. Came to Waldorf over halfway through the season.
He was walking in Memphis to the team. Hasn't seen much action, but we'll see what he can do for the Senators.
Sebrin has given up a run in each of his appearances to this point in the year. Gave up that walk-off hit against the Aces. Sanderoff cranks one to center. Over into the gap is DeShazo. He hauls it in. 1 gone.
Now batting, number 7, AJ Martin.
Lineup card flips over to A.J. Martin, who comes up with a runner on. Pitch gets past the catcher, Purser Eber, and advancing to second is Casey Gibbs.
Gibbs with a stolen base. Not what the Senators want.
Notable change in the field is Braden Purser Eber into the ballgame for Nate McHugh, who you think with this change that they may try to give the start tomorrow evening against the Grays, try to keep him as well rested as they can.
3-0 count now. And you cannot be serious right now with the Senators. There's still a small chance, but it's very slim.
And a 4-pitch walk to A.J. Martin makes it first and second. And Zach, you feel like if there's any chance at all, they really can't afford to surrender another run.
I mean, to be honest, I feel like they got to just focus on the fundamentals right now. You're getting blown out. Just focus on the fundamentals so you can get out of the inning and get more runs onto the board. Oh, 2 count. Some positive hope there, and he strikes him out. Gets a little bit more morale back onto the Senators' dugout.
Number 19, Brady Powell.
And for the Senator squad, it is somewhat disappointing to see how they've played the last 2 evenings. It seemed like they were really building up for what was their best point in the season after that win on Friday and a really solid 5-3 victory over the Braves. One of the games that they've had the most control in throughout the season a lot of the wins have been up and down types of ball games.
There have been, and they're usually either blowouts or tightly controlled in some favor and some not.
Was really satisfying to see the way they played on Saturday. Got on a miss for strike 3. Waylon Severin able to hold them scoreless in the away half of 5. Senators bats due up in a moment. To lead off the home half of 5 is Silas Boris. 10-1 the score from Waldorf. So glad you can join us on what is a beautiful Monday evening in Waldorf. Regency furniture lit up.
Silas Boris hoping to get something going for the Senators.
Boris has struck out his only time up. New pitcher into the ball game for Gaithersburg is Jake Plaint. One of a few only Maryland natives on this team. Of course, that city plays host to the Crop Dusters.
And Nicholas Carls, he's done for the night, and what a performance he put up. Just very great run, only allowing just 1 run. So we'll see if Jacob Platt can carry the torch.
And you got to realize how special Carls was, especially with the trouble he was in last inning. Left 3 base runners on, did the Senators, with only 1 run surrendered.
Just a great performance for him by that young man, and there's got to be some scouts watching this live stream, or maybe even at the game. So
The 3-2 popped a mile into the air. Over near the first base dugout is DiMartino, who lets it drop. Kind of odd to see. It was playable. He kind of had his glove over the dugout, but it bounced on the dirt.
I feel like Martino could have grabbed that ball. I don't know, maybe he felt bad. They're beating the Senators by a lot.
On the ground to short. Kawashima comes up firing. A bang-bang play. They'll rule the throw was in time. One got.
Senators dugout not happy with the call.
Now batting the second baseman, number 34, Ty Smolinski.
Well, it seemed like DiMartino likely lost it up in the lights.
Oh yeah,
But nonetheless, Silas Boris set down.
you can say Martino on that fly, that foul ball was blinded by the lights.
With another shot is Ty Smolinski, just his second trip to the plate. Jake Plaint with a 1-0 record on the year, has made 7 appearances.
And playing a really consistent performer and relief guy for the Giants.
Longest appearance on the year was 2 innings back on Thursday against the Crop Dusters. Gave up 2 earned on 3 hits and struck out a batter.
Slow in the dirt there.
The 1-1 pitch. Smolinski fouls it off.
Swinsky swung a little bit too early on that pitch, and maybe he hit off his bat a small bit, and resulting in the foul ball.
So glad you can join us at Regency Furniture. Cody Wagner alongside Zach Kimmel. He gets a piece of it, will come up and hit his shoulder, ruled foul by both our home plate and first base umpires. Count will remain a ball and 2 strikes.
You know, once you count for a batter, you want to try and focus on contact and hit it and be prepared to hit defensive pitches.
Plaint stands 6 foot, 165 on the rubber. Hot shot back up the middle, will bang off the bag, and Powell snags it out of the air, but no throw coming. Smolinski able to reach first safely.
That ball, it ricocheted off the bag, and a lot of factor that many people don't understand, the dirt. It plays a huge factor, and that makes the ball a little bit random, and it bounces. We just saw that right there.
When it hits off the bag, it's super hard to judge.
Yeah, it can go left, it could go right, it could bounce back at you. You don't know where it can go.
Top of the order, due up for Scott Middleton's guys in the form of Rowan Putz. Has made contact both times up, but still yet to record a hit.
This is an issue the Senators have had this entire season. You have guys on base, yet you can't get them home. It's leaving guys stranded on base.
Hard hit back
Oh,
up the
no.
middle. Powell tags second base, throw to first, still be in time. They turn 2 to end the inning. Plaint needed to just face 3 batters to get out of things in the 5th. 10-1, your score from Regency Furniture. Back from Waldorf in a moment. Two defensive changes for Southern Maryland in the form of Ian Kennedy and P.J. Hughes. Hughes in it short for Silas Boris, and Kennedy enters the game for C.J. Willis.
Ian Kennedy, a fan favorite hitter, and he also is one of the team's power hitter. And I remember speaking to him a few weeks ago, and I asked him what he was working on, and he said just working on his role as filling his role as a designated hitter.
Had a home run earlier in the weekend against the Braves, which helped lift the Senators to victory. That was a 3-run shot. Into the ball game is Leighton Lackey on the side of Gaithersburg.
It's the third time in my life I've heard a Leighton. There was a Leighton classmate, Leighton Van Esteris, and now Leighton Lackey.
Lackey enters the ball game for Jacob Bunch, who was 0 for 3 this evening. Lackey batting 190 on the year. Has walked and struck out both 15 times, make it 16 walks.
Now batting number 31, Barham White.
Last inning, Waylon Sebron was ultimately able to leave 2 stranded.
Barham White back up onto the dish.
Drove in 2 runs with a double in the 4th inning. Been a big part of the lead, reaching in all 3 of his trips to the plate.
Just a great hitter the young man is. Especially having a good game tonight.
Pitch will get past the catcher, Purser Ebert, unable to squeeze
Leighton
it.
Lackey gonna try and go for 3 here. Does he get it?
He's able to advance to third base, and he stands just 90 feet away. A heads-up play by number 0.
Oh my goodness, and what a play by him. He able to sense it and just makes it to third. A smart play.
The pitch up and in to White. And yet again, a ball will roll from the Senators' dugout.
What is with these
Rather.
balls tonight?
Bullpen, apologies.
Baseballs.
The 2-1 pitch. Sebron really struggling to find the zone at the moment.
Especially right now, you have a guy on third, and I got to give Leighton just a great heads-up play on that. Not only does he steal second, he also stole third.
Will likely score with anything in play. Infield straight up for the Senators.
Giants are just in a huge offensive advantage right now, and once you get a guy on first, then it's really dangerous.
Lackey super speedy. It's going to be tough to keep him from scoring. White fights it off.
White kind of being a slump hitter right now, struggling to make contact. trouble holding on to baseballs.
The payoff pitch. Called strike 3, catches the inner half of the zone. A big punch out for Waylon Severin. Sets down White looking.
Now batting, number 33, Tyler DeMartino.
And boy, has Tyler DeMartino been good. 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs to his name. Chance to drive in another with Lackey standing aboard third.
Signaling for a slider. When you signal a slider, you want to have 4 fingers extended, and it's often with a closed fist or a palm. Ties it up 1-1.
Zach, it has just not been smooth sailing over the last 2 nights for your Senators.
It is not, and tipped the ball, and just not been just 2 tough teams. You have potentially the 2 teams. They're going to meet in the championship game, the Giants and the Aces, but we'll see who makes it and who doesn't.
Another strikeout for Waylon Severin.
Severin doing good in this inning.
Now batting,
Back-to-back
number 34,
Ks,
Masayuki Kawashima.
and all of a sudden there's 2 gone in the inning. That absolutely huge for Severin. Lackey stood at third with no outs, and he stays in the same spot now with 2 gone. Masayuki Kawashima.
Kawashima, another dangerous hitter for the Giants.
Trying to erase an 0 for 3 ball game. Flared out towards shallow center. Charging is DeShazo. He has to slide. Able to make the grab. Severin leaves one stranded at third base in the form of Leighton Lackey. Back in a moment from Waldorf. In the pinch hit for Nathan Brewer is Logan Tribble, who will also take over in left field. Has played all 3 spots in the outfield for Scott Middleton so far this season. Giants pulling away with this one, 10-1 your score from Regency Furniture. Fouls one back to begin the EAB.
Swung on a little bit too early.
Cody Sharman, the new man on the hill for Gaithersburg. Stands 5'10", 165. Has pitched in 5 games to this point in the year, 8 1/3 innings. Last pitched on Thursday against the Crop Dusters, through 2 1/3.
And it looks like the Giants, they might be experimenting with certain pitchers as kind of giving certain guys a shot.
Jake Plaint was wonderful last inning. Gave up just the one single, which was erased off Rowan Putz grounding into double play. The 2-2. Cut on a miss. Strike 3. And the first batter Sharman faces, he sets down on strikes.
Now batting the designated hitter, number 23.
Next up is Carter Groen. Singled his last time up and leads the entire Cal in homers with 9. Smashed the opposite way. Bunch barely asked to move. Catch made.
You can't
2
have
down.
corn on that play.
Now batting
Owen DeShazo remains in the ballgame for your Senators.
It's a 2-0 count to start off. Wanting to be selective.
Senators' only run of the game came back in the 4th inning.
However, the Senators have not allowed another Gaithersburg Giant run since the 5th inning, as they've made adjustments to the defense.
And DeShazo able to reach on a walk. The new catcher who came in as a defensive replacement in the away half of 5 gets his first chance at the plate in the bottom of 6. Nate McHugh finished up 1 for 2 on the night. Purser Eber pegged as the number 9 ranked prospect coming out of Connecticut. Just graduated from high school this spring. Well-needed collegiate level experience for him.
Definitely. You have a few collegiate level guys on the Senators roster, giving them a little bit of a leadership and veteran level. As these guys come all over it from college and just recently graduated. So you need that experience and that leadership these young guys don't have.
Well, it was a fast start to the inning for Cody Sharman. All of a sudden has started to struggle to find the zone. The 3-1. Punch the opposite way. Just foul. The payoff pitch. A wave and a miss for strike 3. And that'll retire the side. Charman leaves one stranded. Senators trail by 9 from Regency Furniture. Giants bats coming up. Well, Waylon Sebring did his job, and in comes Landon Friedman out of the bullpen. The 6-foot right-hander out of Hofstra has allowed 10 runs across 9 2/3 innings for the Senators.
At a 9 ERA at Hofstra. Senators are hoping to avoid the mercy rule.
That would come into effect if the lead is over 10 through 7 innings. Occurred last night against the Aces.
Let's hope we don't have a mercy rule.
Feeling reminiscent a little bit of that ball game 24 hours ago, where the Senators, they really just haven't had much answer for the opponent.
And it looks like they're adapting a little bit to the strategy of the Giants. Adapting to certain.
Line drive back up the middle, down for a base knock. A leadoff hit for Casey Gibbs to begin the inning.
Now batting number 22, Sherman Thomas.
New player in off the bench is Matthew Best. Enters this game for Tanner Sanderoff, who was 2 for 3.
Looks like he's getting some playing time. Gonna try and give him a shot.
Best has played in 14 games.
Best also a pretty consistent hitter.
in the starting rotation of the Giants. At nearly every position, they go day on, day off, and nearly every configuration of this lineup is successful. Punch the opposite way,
Whoa.
lands out in right field,
No, no,
and runners
no,
at the
no,
corners
no,
after
no.
Putz bobbles the ball off the ground.
No. Not a good situation to be in. A guy on first and a guy on third. Huge offensive advantage for the Giants.
And a nice piece of hitting by Matthew Best.
And you also have no outs. So all you would need is a pop fly and you take the lead.
Trying to walk out of Waldorf winners early. Punch the opposite way. Throw to second. They get one. Run will come home to score.
No, he dropped it.
Smolinski. It seemed like they had him dead to rights at second, and he just drops the ball. First and second base
Are they
for
calling him-
Gaithersburg. Problems and struggles continue for your Senators. 11-1 the score.
Not a good look for the Senators tonight. And
Now batting number 8.
you gotta
Alex
just
Ward.
maybe at this point you play for pride. That's what coaches would tell you. Just play for pride. Just try and at least go out with maybe a score, some runs. Try and play your best defense right now.
Especially this late in the season, Senators are gonna really need to get right back on track tomorrow. Likely, you would think this one out of reach this evening.
Tomorrow you have to try and pull your stuff together and try and come back strong.
Into the game for Aiden Robbins enters Jaden Brown. He skies it out of play.
That just hit over the head on the roof. And it rolls off to the front. Looks like it rolled into the front row crowd. Maybe to the left.
Still yet to record an out in the inning.
2-2 count. And what I try and signal here as a catcher is try and signal for a slider or a cutter. Try and get a double play.
Count full to Brown. Sky high. Will stay in the infield. Hughes underneath it. With all the time in the world, catch made.
You still have two more outs to go. You just gotta try and get two more outs, get a run or two, and try and finish this game off as best you can.
One gone in the inning. Two guys on for Brady Powell.
Able to cover it. This pitch is in the dirt.
One of the few guys remaining in the ballgame for manager TJ Brockway.
Pitches a little bit to the outside. 2-0 count, only one out.
2-0 offering. Fouled back up above the booth. Powell with a big opportunity.
So it's called strike. 2-2 count.
Good news for the Senators is the Braves trail the big train at the moment. Slow roller left side.
Whoa.
The throw from Friedman high of the bag. Kennedy has to jump, and he's not back to planet Earth in time.
Number 0.
Bases loaded here for the Giants. Another action. DC Grays knock off the Thunderbolts 5-3, and as mentioned before, Bethesda is beating Metro 5-1, and the Aces are winning 5-2 in the Crop Dusters. That's a close game. That's the top of the ninth. Maybe the Crop Dusters can make a comeback.
Lifted high in the infield. Sweeney calls everyone off. Catch made. Two gone in the inning.
Number 31. Barham White.
Now you're in somewhat of a good situation. Yes, you're getting blown out, but you just get an out here, and then you just got to try and make a run in the bottom of the seventh to try and keep this game alive.
Barham White back up to the plate. Line drive to center field. One will score. Another plated. 13-1 Giants. And they're cruising in Southern Maryland. A 2 RBI single off the bat of Barham White.
Now batting number 33. Tyler DiMartino.
4 runs knocked home from White this evening.
Now you have lots of ground to make up now, and a mercy rule can definitely play into effect in the bottom of the seventh.
Up steps Tyler DiMartino. Comes in on a 2-for-3 night.
It just looks like when things start to go the Senators' way, it just comes crashing down.
And let's not brush over that DC Grays victory earlier in the night. That is absolutely massive. Brings them just a half game behind the Senators, assuming that they lose this one tonight.
Yeah, the DC Grays, they're 14-20, and the Senators and Braves, they might get losses tonight, and that would push the Grays up ahead. So it's definitely a three-way battle in the South. It's going to be really interesting tomorrow when the Senators play the Grays.
That's really going to have huge playoff implications. And still, you're going to have 2 games left for the Senators, and that's what's likely going to be the decider for a lot of these teams is however that game goes. Those 2 games, rather, go on Wednesday night.
And the Aces are they're just sitting and watching the chaos unfold, seeing who they're going to play.
Now batting number 34. Masayuki Koshi.
Tyler DiMartino able to work a walk and load the bases. Next guy up is Masayuki Kawashima.
And Kawashima dangers it. Looks
On the ground to second. Smolinski comes up firing. In time to retire the side. 13-1 your score. Senators will try to put up some runs in the inning. Back in a moment from Waldorf. Luke Pear into the ball game for Gaithersburg. And
Folks, if
the
you were-
batter for Southern Maryland is Ian Kennedy.
Folks, if you were watching at the beginning of the game, if you paid attention, you'd know I spoke to this kid before the game, and he mentioned on working on mechanics and hiding his pitches. So we'll see if he does that tonight.
A 5.06 ERA. Most recently had a scoreless outing against the Crop Dusters on Thursday. Kennedy came into the ballgame back in the 5th inning as a defensive replacement for C.J. Willis.
Ian Kennedy, often called the gentle giant on the team.
In Mercy Rule territory from Waldorf. 13-1 your score. The 2-2 offering. Waved at and missed. And Luke Pear feeling it in Regency Furniture.
Now batting the third baseman, number 5, Mike Sweeney.
And Cody Sharman comes out of the game after throwing just 1 inning, but Pear starts where he left off with a punch-out.
All I can say for the Giants is just great pitching tonight, great defense, able to adjust to the Senators.
Mike Sweeney with another chance at the dish.
He's disguising his pitches. It's one of the things he was really working on and stressing to me.
Driven out to center. Under it is Jaden Brown. Catch made. 2 gone in the inning.
Now batting the shortstop, number 8, Silas Forrest.
Pear trying to bring a premature ending to this ball game. Two away in the inning. Giants stand just 1 out away from victory.
It's an awkward pitch by Luke.
PJ Hughes, another one of those guys that entered the ball game as a defensive replacement, came on in the 6th for Silas Boris. Hard on the ground left of the third base bag.
One-two count coming up, expanding the strike zone a small bit, slightly.
Called strike 3 on the old Uncle Charlie that dips into the zone from Pear. Ball game. Giants win it in dominant fashion. 13-1. Your final from Southern Maryland.
It's not how the way the Senators went tonight. And just, we'll see if they'll improve next game. And thank you to the Senators for giving me this opportunity to call for the games tonight. And it might have been not win tonight, but hopefully they'll bounce back.
Well, back-to-back ball games where Southern Maryland's been run-ruled. They'll try to get right back on track tomorrow evening against the DC Grays. For now, we say so long. Cody Wagner, Zach Kimmel from Waldorf. 13-1, your final. Giants win.